Okay, well, I hit the wrong button. I pushed the button and it just turned it off. So I didn't even get to say the ending. So I was like, okay, I'll just go back. But I'm not going to talk for a whole nother hour or anything. I got another cup of tea though. I was like, okay, well, since I got to wait a minute anyways, because this will download way faster than the other one. I don't know. It could be done by the time I'm done with this. But I decided to go on TikTok again and see if there was anything going on. Hold on a second. And I just saw this guy's live. He's so wacky. Like everybody is so whacked out. And this guy was live, and he was talking to people, and he said when he first started talking, I was like, who is he talking about? Because he was like, you're going to feel embarrassed you ever voted for him. This is going to be really embarrassing for all of you when in the future. Like, this is going to be like a huge humiliation that you guys are going to have to live with for the rest of your lives. And everybody's going to know. And it's pitiful. Like, that's like how he was being. Like, we're just disgusting. And so I'm thinking, like, who is he talking? Which guy is he talking about here? That's what's so weird. Is like, God damn the hypocrisy. So, anyways, he said, he finally said, you know, when Donald, but he called him the other guy, with the T, when he because that's always like, good. But when Donald loses again, because he's going to lose again. Oh my God, fella. Talk about humiliation. You're out there just outspoken as hell and you don't even, like, know that. Like, oh, if he loses again, oh, fella. That's why I said there are so many of these people out here who are just, it's like, I'm digging my grave right here. Don't bother me. I'm digging it. I'm not quite down there far enough, but we'll see when I get down there. It's like, oh, it's going to feel like, especially when that is your, you know, divide and conquer. You're going to be so humiliated. You ever voted for him. Like, y'all are going to be embarrassed that you ever voted at all. But to try and say, like, this guy's worse than this guy, it's like, who do you talk to? Like, where are you coming up with this? And, I don't know, the whole thing is so weird. But you have people who think that that is what's going to be embarrassing. Oh my God, I think it's going to be embarrassing that you were taking all this so serious. Like, this guy's in a mask and you're like, vote. Oh my God. Oh my God. But, you know, Donald does play a role. But to me, it is this same thing, is to push you to think for yourself. And this is the thing with Paris right now. So I just saw this other girl talking about this video. So what I had seen was, I knew that they did the opening thing, and I've seen all these people talking about the opening, and oh my God, it's the fourth horseman, and then people showing it was exact from some movie or something. What they use, like, this is all so, it is a movie. And so all these people were talking about that. You know, it's the end, and I don't know. The people who are waiting on Jesus are really starting to look super crazy to me. And like, I think that that's crazy anyways, because why would you put off, like, instead of healing yourself or saving yourself, like, well, I'm just gonna wait for this other guy. He's gonna do it all for me. I don't have to do shit. Then what are you doing? What are you doing here? Like, I don't get it. So this, so then they had, the power has gone out. And I saw this woman talking, and she said that she was going in and reading all these different videos in the comments. And so all of these people who are waiting on Jesus, they think because of their satanic ritual start of the show, that God himself is punishing them by turning the lights off. You know, I just, sometimes it's like I have no words. Like, I don't know how, I don't even know what this girl's stance was, but she was just still like, she seemed to be like of a liberal thing. Like, she just couldn't believe, like, what, all these Christians are just like, oh, because there's drag queens at the Last Supper, because they are saying this in the thing. Like they're making fun of the Last Supper or something. Well, these people fucking made this shit up for you, so they're just showing you they can do whatever the fuck they want. So the people, you know, or who are waiting on the Jesus fella, that they don't have to worry about anything. It's like they don't have to fix anything, heal anything, do anything, save anybody, help anybody. You know, Jesus is going to do all this. It's like, can you not see an error in your own soul to think that another soul needs to come down and clean up your mess, take away your pain, fix it for you, and then hold your hand and take you where he is so you can sit by him and worship him for eternity because he did that for you? Like, I'm curious, really, if there is a reality of that. Like, if there is not people who, like, yeah, we're gonna do that, and then they sit there for years and years, like eons, like 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100 million years. They sit there, and then one day they go, maybe there's more to this thing. Maybe there's more out there. Yeah, maybe if you, but then it's like you got to go through all these things to clean up your mess, you know, because you're just not cleaning up shit. You're just waiting for this other guy to do it for you. That is so codependent. That is so like, can't take care of myself. Here, somebody come take care of me. It's like, so that is something in our society that is having to be broke free from. And there's more people too who are realizing, like, fuck, the religious people, that is going to be the hardest group. Like the government shit, there'll be a lot of humiliation. Like that guy said, like, it's not going to be like, oh, all the people who voted for, it's going to be people who even voted at all. People who spent their time and energy focused on this shit. And be like, what the fuck? Why was I thinking if I picked one person to be over me, it would be okay? And then I'm going to argue over who's the right person to pick. It's like all that has to break down so that people can see like how ridiculous it is. So they're all going to be embarrassed. The religious people, they've got so much this default, this firewall that they've built around this concept that has got these people in such a mind trap. I don't know how they're going to, it's their soul. This is a battle for their soul. Like they've got to, it's so weird too. Like the people who believe there's a battle for their soul are the ones that are surrendering their soul in the battle. It's like you can't just hear, especially, it's so weird because I said this over and over and over to my mom. Like, okay, so King James, you know, his edited version of controlling you. Like, if you're not reading it off the motherfucking chiseled rock, then no. Hell no. And then you still have to know the languages. And then you still, even if you go and you read a book from like, I think it's like the 1800s. Like if you just go read a book that was written, they talk so different. The way they put the sentences together and words. And see, we were trained. Remember how we were trained in school, how to format our language, how to talk, how to put sentences together, when to use a noun and a verb and an adjective, and how to put them all together in a sentence and create. So it was all created before it was all these different, it was like all these different cultures, so all these different languages. And then when they started having to go around each other and communicate, Then they had to have something to a common language that these people, see, they created this English so that they could um, create a common language, but not everybody learns the common language, but it's so manipulated. So it's just to control confirmation. This is just to control and manipulate us through language. And so there is a lack of communication. And but anyways, that's how nefarious this whole shenanigan and bullshit is. And so they have control through writing or language and stuff. But like before, when people would talk, they would talk so different. Like if you read these older, like I was reading one, I don't remember what it was because it was a few years ago, like long while ago. And somebody else was reading a part, because I have some really old books, and somebody else was reading and saying how hard it is to understand. It's like it's they talk different than how we talk. And it's kind of weird how they've got us all to kind of talk alike. That is, the creation of their sheeple or whatever, this get us all to be alike. And then how far it's gone, even where, you have all these girls doing surgery to try and turn into this trendy look that they created to get you to not like yourself. And the thing is, it's really gonna cause a ricochet, is that they're gonna switch trends. They're gonna switch trends on these people. And then it's gonna go into a different trend that's gonna be like opposite. That's gonna really fuck up a lot of people's heads. But all the stuff you got to keep thinking is to help you walk yourself through these insecurities and stuff. But yeah, there's gonna be some switch that will switch, and then everybody will be like, oh, I want to look like that instead. And then they've already been doing surgeries, look like this other thing. But then they got to see is like, well, why is everybody trying to look like one thing instead of just look like themselves? That's the most important thing, is for you to learn to love yourself and to appreciate yourself, and to, you don't have to just sit there and think like, oh, I'm the most beautiful thing in the whole wide world. Like, why should that even be something that holds us back? Why should that be something that we are focused on? That's something that they try and pull your focus on to keep you distracted, because it's real easy then to make you feel beat down because you don't look like the right look. Like nobody has all the right, even the people who they try and put on the stage to represent all these characteristics, they're getting it all done through artificial means. Like they're getting surgeries and stuff to look these ways. And then everybody else is jumping on board and getting these surgeries. But then all of a sudden, the Kim Kardashian look, this anime weird look, will go away and it will switch to another one. And then all these people are not even going to know what to do with themselves. Like some of them will just keep going, like, and still think they're the most beautiful thing in the whole wide world, because you still got that other girl who went and turned herself into Angelina Jolie. And Angelina Jolie hasn't been a popular look in a long time, ever since the Jennifer, Brad, Angelina trilogy, or whatever that little love triangle situation that went on, which, how much of that was just bullshit too? Like, probably. Like, who even knows with some of these people whose lives are ran by these other places? Like, I was at my daughter's, and her fellow was watching this hot sauce show thing where these people sit and eat these hot wings. Like, they have these movie stars come on and they eat these hot wings and get interviewed. And so it had Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds looks so different. Or I was like, man, I don't know. Did he gain weight or something? He looks kind of like the Ryan Reynolds out of Just Friends. But anyways, I guess there's a new Deadpool out or something. So he was, um, but it can also be like, that they always have these people under filters and uh, um, lighting and makeup, like what we've seen what these girls are doing with makeup. Like, I mean, who knows with some of these people what they really even look like in person. But anyway, so it was Ryan Reynolds and Jack, what's that guy's name? The Wolverine guy. It just has come out as gay. I don't even know if he's come out and said he's gay. But he broke up with his wife and moved his boyfriend in, and everybody's talking about it or whatever. And so I was just thinking, was he always gay? And then they told him he wasn't allowed to show his true self because they were going to market him as a sex symbol. Because there's a lot of girls who really like him. You think, he's sexy or something. And and they did that to Rock Hudson. So then it was like, maybe that guy's been gay the whole time. Maybe that was a fake wife. Maybe none of that was real because these people have these other people who control them. Just think, God, what a shitty way to live too. You can't live your truth. Like, I think it's weird with the, Barack and Michael situation too. It's like, do you not want to be seen for your true self? You like going around pretending to be something you're not, pretending to be somebody you're not. Like, I think that would be a sucky way to live. I'd much rather, somebody see me for who I am. You like me or don't like me. And it really, you can't get too hung up on if people don't like you. Like, what does it really matter? Does it really matter? You're not going to hang out with them. If they don't like you, then, they're lost. They don't get to know you and you bug them, then whatever. Who cares? It's not something to really get hung up on. Like, you can't expect, like, everybody in the world is going to like you. Like, everybody's all these different opinions, all these different ways of looking at things. Man, these religious people, like, they're really, like, I always get them to come in the comments. Sometimes I get the religious people will come in and tell me, I'm wrong and I better get right with Jesus. And then the love and light people, they'll come in and tell me, I need to get right and focus on the love and the light and not focus on anything real. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, well, I kind of have this idea, this philosophy of healing and facing the dark side, facing my the dark parts of myself so I can heal them and let them go. So you want to sit and live in oblivion land, go ahead. You want to sit and wait for someone else to come do your work for you, go ahead, see where it gets you. But it's weird how they always come in and try and tell me that I need to be doing something different. I need to be thinking different. I need to be looking at things different. It's like, you really have time in your day to go around and try and police everybody to look at things the way you look at things. I don't have time for that. If the universe brings you to me, that is, they have the message for you. I'm just out here talking what they tell me to do. And so I just go out and do that. They do the rest. And if they bring you to me and that is something that you put the brakes on and you don't want to hear what I say, you don't want to absorb that information, that's like, I know that it's planting a seed at some point that you're going to have a memory of that and be like, oh man, somebody said that to me years ago and I didn't listen. And that is one thing too, is when we were talking, when my daughters were sitting there and we were talking about the naturopathic and stuff. And my one daughter, she's like, I told you about that stuff years ago. And I said, I know. And some of the stuff I couldn't absorb it. It was like you planted a seed. But that's what life is all about. Like, it's not like, I was going to know all that stuff. Like, and I've said that before. I said it's crazy because I had two daughters who were, you know, going into this, we're going to just shampoo our hair with vinegar. We're going to, one daughter was making all these creams and scrubs and everything from natural stuff and giving them to us for Christmas and stuff. And, you know, and I just tell my mom, it's so wacky, is when I was, you know, all caught up in the medical, I was on all those drugs and shit. Even my nurse practitioner one, she had said, you know, take magnesium for headaches. And I'm thinking, like, what is she trying to fuck me over and not give me real drugs? Like, and she's trying to tell me go take a goddamn vitamin that's going to fix something. That is really how my mind worked back then. And I know a lot of people's works like that, you know, and it's a lot to release that information and start getting into, oh, this really works. This works, you know, and you get better and better. And then I've just seen, because I was on 18 meds when I got off, and I've seen so much improvement. My mom said a bunch of times while I was there, she thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. I was so fucking sick. And I can only assume that had to be when I had the Hep C. And look at how I was going to appointments and stuff. They weren't even looking at any of that stuff either. But I don't even know what all I had. I know I had colitis, and the meds were killing me. The 18 pills were killing me a day. And so I went off of them, you know, and that changed, improved my health. That's what I started saying about, you know, you got to take matters into your own hands, but it does have to do with how you look at things. And you do start realizing that there's people that come in and tell you these things all the time, but sometimes it is just planting a seed. And then later on, the seed goes, and then you have that, like, oh, see, they were telling me, I just wasn't hearing. And you can look back and think, like, why couldn't I hear? Why couldn't I understand? Well, I wasn't meant to at that point. You know, it was just gathering information. It was just the resources that I was gathering to put it all together. So you got to see, like, just because you didn't click it in that one instant doesn't mean that, you know, something's wrong with you or something. There's a gathering of information. So you get this whole big thing and you put it all together. So, you know, that's what you got to see is that, and that's why the people who come across your path are important. A lot of them are carrying a stone, you know, something to give you information, something to give you completion and understanding of your picture that you're building. So that is why it is valuable to participate in your life in this combination of this back and forth, because it's crazy, because you're coming across somebody and, you know, they trigger you, give you whatever information or whatever, you're doing the same thing to them. There's all this back and forth, and that, oh, because if you're not, oh, okay, because everything is always going to happen the way it's going to happen. But it's like when you aren't being present in your life, it's like you're dropping the ball of what you're giving other people. But there's also kind of a default, but it's kind of like that's where something you would see in your past life thing that would give you an auto correction where you would see it and you'd be like, oh, I need to not do that. I need to be more present, because then the people are getting more, there's a better exchange in energy that you can use, is a valuable exchange of energy when we're both participating in life on a here and now level, where you are actually in the moment. Then you have a better outcome when both people, but there is like this default thing, because there's people who you interact with that you're going to still get the stuff. When you are present, you'll still get the stuff. It doesn't matter so much if they aren't. Somehow it's still, you will get what you are supposed to get, because however it comes will be a part of it. So you will always still get what you get when you are being aware in, you know, participating in the here and now. But there's But the people who aren't in the here and now, like they're in that moment, but they're not in that moment, then that is something that they have to, there's the coordination, the coordinated event of this succession of realizations in your life review, when you look over and then you see these interactions. Oh, because you can see how somebody else participates and how your lack of participation. So that can be also a really good learning thing when you are in your life review and you're trying to learn about this stuff. And everything you learn, you got to remember, it becomes a part of you. It isn't like you have to keep relearning things and relearning things. It's right now it's more of a remembering. So it's more like everything was in you, but it was blocked. Like they kept this distance, like I said, an interference in the Wi-Fi. But everything was in you, and now all these things like me, when the universe brings me to you, then it is more like I would be saying something that would give you, would make you remember something that's inside of you. So it would be more like, oh, yeah, that makes sense because it's inside of you. And so you have those things happening to help you remember. But it isn't like you're just teaching people new information. You learn through the process of development. But the information is okay, wait a second, because I'm lost for a second. Okay, so oh man, I'm getting more lost. So some of the stuff, because it's like pictures. It's like trying to decipher this stuff. Okay, so like if you go to your life review and you can see things from other people's perspective, then you can see like how they were participating, and you see like where your problems are, so that you can see that stuff, so you can work on it, so you would have other lives and stuff. It's not like you have to relearn the same lessons over and over and over and over. Once the lessons are in you, they're in you, and it's a part of you. It's like a facet in the diamond. It's like the life etched in its experience into your DNA, so that you are, it is like something that you know. And then the different people out talking right now, some of them are distraction, some of them are led by a dark energy. But that is also so people can learn discernment. Like there's nothing, like all the things. And there could be people who think that they are passing on good information, and they could be passing on dark information. And that would also be helping them to learn their discernment as well, of who they listen to. So everything has a good ending, but you got to work towards the ending. But there's a lot of, shuffling through to get to the ending. But so but the people who, and it's like I get lost in the same part again. So okay, so you have, okay, so you have your, everything inside of you. Like it's a part of your facet of who you are. And then you go out and you start listening to all these people talking, and other things have reminded them and woke them up and reminded them who they are. And then, like me, and then start talking about it. And then other people go in and start listening to that, and it reminds them, and then they start remembering. So then they start talking about it to, it could be to friends or whatever, just thinking about it sends out a ripple effect. So then more information keeps rippling through, getting more and more people to, that's this part where they say bringing our DNA back online or something. It's like waking up our DNA, because it's in there all the information. It's like, I can't just tell you something and all of a sudden you just know it. The reason you know it is because it's inside of you. That you learn from the actual experience, not just because I tell you something. I'm telling you things to just help you remember who and what you are, what's inside of you. And then the other thing too is this energy of drive, a direction. Because as the ending is going, it's kind of like in that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, what was that called? Not Insidious, inner something. And he was, and I don't remember how it was going into these other realities or whatever. I just remember this reality falling apart and them trying to run as it was falling apart behind them. So it's kind of like we're in this part where it's falling apart. And so it's kind of like those of us who can see where we're going, that we have to talk about it and gets people. It's like holding a light in a place that's dark so that they can see what's possible, because everything is falling apart. That is what so many people are seeing, is this thing's falling apart. And then the other thing too that's weird is because there's so many people who don't see it falling apart. Like, it's falling apart right in front of them, but they don't see it. That is going to be, I think, very shocking for a lot of people when they wake up to that. Like, well, how was I that distracted? How was I not seeing? And that's something, that's in their healing. That's their wheelhouse of what they're here to work on. And so there's going to be a lot of different things. You just got to think about all these different lives that people have lived, all these different periods of time. Like right now, even. Oh my gosh, that was weird. I don't know why those lights just went out. This is, all the lights. Oh, all the lights went out. Ooh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the powers going out. So now my video is not even downloading anyways. Okay, I've been talking like 32 minutes. We'll see. We'll give it a second and see if it comes back on. But, yeah, so that lady had said yesterday that all this shit was going to go down yesterday. So I want to get home. And now I'm home. And so if it does start going down, because it would be on the weekend where these one people are saying, because then when we go back, like, there's going to be things that are wrong, like the banks and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, things are going to keep going until things change. So this is, it's just a part of it. And then there is, it's just like people like me who are sitting there holding the light saying, don't worry, you guys, this is fine. This is fine. This is cycles. This is okay. Don't get all caught up, because they want people to get all caught up in fear. That's why they're putting like the pale horseman to open the show and all this stuff. And then the power go down and, there's just so much stuff. And even, you got to think, like, even the people who are running out of gas, all the people who are running into lots of problems, that is so that they stop what they're doing and make changes. All of it is about that. So now I'll try and download this. Man, it might not even go on for, well, I don't know. It just depends. Like, if we stay with no power for a while, it could come back on in a few minutes. It was like nothing, though. It just all of a sudden just went out. And it's like sunny, it's sunrise. There's no weather, no wind. But it could be a car wreck. It could be a car wreck that ran into but sometimes when there's something with, what do they call that? Because our power will go out and the electrical thing is miles away. But sometimes you can hear it explode. So, I don't know. I don't hear any generators. I wonder if it's everybody's power. So then my neighbor will start messaging me if her power's out. Now I kind of want to look out, but since it's daytime hours, you can't really see if people's lights are on. So, well, we'll see how it keeps going. Like, there's no telling. I will try and download this though. Maybe the Wi-Fi. Like, I don't know, all this shit. Like, because there's a whole thing. Like, nothing's going to be working. Our phones won't work. All these things will go down while they change over these systems. Because the quantum system's different than this, what they have us on. So, anyways, now it's too hard to stay focused on what I was talking about. I can't think. But I think, you know, it's still like going off of what I was talking about in the other video this morning. And so, you know, it all goes together and makes sense to me. But yeah, everything that is in you is inside you. It's not like you listen to me for, 10 minutes and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you know, she knows. No, the only way that you would think I know is because it's the knowing's inside of you. It turns on the knowing inside of you. And that's where you got to focus, not just on like what I say, but it's the things like inside of you that are coming on during this period of time, coming on for, there's deliberate reasons why things are happening the way they're happening. And so is this more being on that timeline of being in the groove with the souls, the spiritual world, being in that groove so that you participate in life on a spiritual perspective and not be so caught up in this three-dimensional fucking nonsense. I'm just so excited for the things to really change and for us to get to really experience life on this other level. Like, fuck, it's like a dream come true. Life was so fucking difficult for so long. Now we get this opportunity to get the other side of life, the fun side, the part where we get to spend time together with the people that we love and hang out. And we get to go out for adventures and see the world, go out and meet different people and different realities and different cultures and different, and understand and learn and grow and learn from each other. And I just think that life is gonna take on such an exciting turnaround. And we're just headed for such exciting things to happen. So, through all this stuff, you just got to keep in mind and see through their game, see through their bullshit. It's also orchestrated. It's also, them doing it. And right now, there is a group of people who are doing it to continue the shenanigans of the other people. And they're making it so much more dramatic to get us to wake up, because like it's kind of like the other people had this in the frogs that they had us in the pot, and they were just gradually turning the water up, and we're all just, oh, pass me the pass me a beer and send me the sunscreen over this way. I'm having a good time here. So we're all just like out there thinking like, oh, this is good. This is my day off. I'm going to, really party. I'm going to have a good time. And so we all were living this certain way. Then the power balance started switching. So then the light started taking over, but the light had to show what the dark was doing, because they couldn't just tell us, because you can't just tell things. You have to show them. They have to see it for themselves. We have to live it so we understand it. So then they started playing it out. That's why we have guys in masks and shit. Which, what did I say? I said, it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out a different color. There's people saying he's come out 6 inches taller. So I don't know. They're going to keep doing these extreme things. Like people are showing like, look how tall he is to Jill here and look how tall he is to Jill there. Well, I think that's kind of been going the whole time. But anyways, all these different things are to get people to wake up and see the shenanigans and to, because that's what this is happening for, is to get us to wake up. And that's why it's so extreme and so absurd and so outrageous, because that is the push. It's like where they had us on a low temperature so that we wouldn't notice. Well, then the light comes in and then crank it up. Like, oh, you guys weren't noticing, so let's turn it up and let's see if you start to notice. Then people are starting to get uncomfortable and people are starting to question things. Well, I don't know. What's going on in here? It's getting kind of hot. A lot in here. And so there's that lady grilling that cat coming into my mind. So anyways, that is awakening. And that is why, the white hats or whatever are doing this play out, this stuff. It's not like they're trying to trick us more. They're trying to trick us awake. They're trying to get us to be like outraged, to be like, Wait a minute. What the fuck? And you still have all these people who are so stuck on the 25. Oh my God. My one daughter, she was like, oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It's like, but you can't tell them. They have to see it for themselves. I'm going to sit and argue about that. Like, when I get worried, go look up the 30. Oh, they're trying to make the handmaid tale. It's like, this is the bullshit they're distracting you with. Like, but you, it's like, that's where everybody's going to see it for themselves. And there's going to be parts that they didn't see that they're going to drive themselves crazy, being like, oh, why didn't you see? God, you're so stupid. And you don't want to get caught up in that, beating yourself down. That's not why this is happening. This is not all happening so you beat yourself down more. So you just take yourself out. No, this is happening to build yourself up, to learn, take steps. It's development. And to hold your hand through it. Don't just punching yourself in the face through it. You know, love yourself. Be your own advocate. Be there for you. And take time for you. And understand, like, you're doing something big, man. This is big. This is exciting. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. But I didn't get it finished. I was like, I pushed the thing and I didn't get a say. Like, you got to remember what you're doing here. You're here to learn to love yourself, to love everybody, and how to have a loving day, because it's up to you. It's all up to you. So anyways, I'll talk to you tomorrow if the Lords see it to be, then I will see you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.